Hello, and welcome to this HelloID provisioning product release video for November 2020. HelloID provisioning is a 100% born-in-the-cloud, easy-to-configure and to maintain user provisioning solution. It helps organizations to fully automate the user lifecycle management in the network by connecting the HR or SIS as a source system. Every change in this source is detected and processed into the network. No worries anymore about stale user accounts, accumulation of licenses or access rights, manual user management, or compliancy issues. Please note that in this video, we will only show the new functionality for the November 2020 release. Please go to docs.helloid.com or our YouTube channel for more videos. Let's get started. In this video, we'd like to start with a PowerPoint presentation and then demo the new functionalities for the November 2020 release. We have 4 new items in this release. Support for wildcards to be used in business rules. We have added support to use a contains condition, which can be used as a filter inside the business rules. This allows us to scope the population inside the business rule based on a particular word in any of the person or contact attributes. We will demo this functionality later on. Add support for manager notification. Previously, we didn't have the ability to notify the manager without receiving the manager's email address directly from the source system. With this new feature, we now have a more flexible way by configuring the account of the manager to be retrieved directly from the source system and use this email address in our notification. Person before and after object on update event. We have added an update object to be available in the PowerShell target connectors. This way, we can identify the differences of persons' objects during an update event. When a person is changed, we start an update event in case this person has an account related to this system. In this event, we will retrieve a person object in PowerShell, where you can see the differences of the person compared to the previous version of the person object. This new feature makes it possible to only update the attributes which have changed instead of updating all the attributes on an account. Add ability to add a logo at the source connector. We have added new functionalities to be used in our PowerShell source connectors. They now support the use of your own logo on the system in the same way the target connectors have. This new functionality is available for the cloud and on-premise PowerShell source connectors. The first item we'd like to show you is how to configure the contains condition in a business rule. To configure this new functionality, you have to open up the configuration section of a business rule. By configuring the condition, you can specify a new condition that will be used as a filter. As you can see, we have added the option to configure a contains condition. Compared to the equals condition, the contains condition is not case sensitive and will also apply to a partial match of the value you specify. When we define a lowercase, Alex, for the person nickname, we can see that only one person is in scope. If we define the same value by using capitals, the same person is still in scope. When we change this to a shorter version, you can see that it also applies to a partial match by having all persons in scope who contain the letters AL inside the nickname. This new condition applies to any of the persons or contract fields and can be configured from the options configuration of the business rule. Here you can specify the same condition for a contract attribute, in which the department or job title can also be used. Now let's move over to our second item, support for the manager notification. We have added manager notification support, which relies on the export data functionality as we introduced in the previous release for target systems. From the notification editor, we can select the system that we would like to be used for resolving the manager account. By selecting one of the available target systems, you can specify where you would like to get the data of the manager from. Optionally, you can also assign a custom key value as a reference, which can be used inside the notification template. To use the account information, there is a default reference identifier available, as you can see in this tooltip. It's called reference.manager, followed by the reference keyword as used to identify our system. Now, let's take a look at this small example notification. In this notification, we refer to the display name of the manager from the PowerShell target cloud system we already had in place. As you can see, we start with our reference dot. manager, followed by the key identifier of our system, and finally, there is the attribute display name. In case of a value which cannot be found for this system, we can also use a fallback scenario. In that case, we fall back to the default value of manager. A fallback scenario can also be configured to be used with multiple variables. In case the first variable is empty, we will try to resolve the second one, the third one, and so on. The next item we would like to show you is the person before and after object in case of an update event. Within the PowerShell update event, we now have two new system objects available coming directly from HelloID. They are called Previous Person and Person Differences. The Previous Person object will contain all the person information which was available before the person's update event was triggered. The Person Differences object contains a differences object representing all the differences between the previous person and the current person. This new functionality makes it easy to identify the updated attributes and introduces the possibility to only update the attributes which have been changed. Let's have a closer look at the Person Differences object represented in a JSON format. As you can see, there is a change identifier within the output results showing the state of the action. In this case, you can see the display name for the user has updated. Within this update, we have the old value and the new value as well. On the contracts, there is also an identifier indicating if the contract is removed or a new one is added. Okay then, let's move on to our last item, the ability to add a logo at the source connector. When looking at the configuration of a PowerShell source connector, there is a new setting named Icon, where you can enter a custom URL to an external source. This URL needs to be prefixed containing HTTPS, otherwise you will receive a warning message. This feature acts in the same way as the previously introduced PowerShell target connectors. When saving this, you will see this icon is shown at the Source Connector General Overview. Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know if you have any additional questions. You can post your questions in YouTube or send it to isupport@toolsforever.com. Please subscribe to our channel to receive frequent updates about improvements and changes in HelloID. Have a wonderful day.